Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about the Deuce Season 1, Episode 7. It's called Reservoir. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, this one's actually very scattershot. I feel like normally there's one or two plots that I feel like there's two main plots, and then the rest were just little snippets. I feel like everything was kind of equally snippety throughout this one. So, we'll walk through the characters as we would typically do, and we'll kind of take them on, one by one that way.
Yep.
But certainly a lot of things going on, and more Vincent, or more Frankie than Vincent, which is strange for one of these.
I think it's the first time that we've had that, right?
It is, yeah. It's interesting because Ashley, basically, she's told, right, okay, it's time, because we see some time has passed. That working at the parlor, as they're calling it, seems to be more normal now. It seems to be a normal occurrence.
Yeah, they're not the only one either.
Yeah, she's told to go off working, and she complains that Laurie's not going, and he's like, no, but she's done the movie, she's to rest for that. You go and work, you go punch the clock, as he says. And she's like, oh, screw this, and she just walks off. That's kind of our opening to the episode. And she ends up at the bar, and she ends up chatting to Frankie, and they joke around, they have some fun, and Paul and his boyfriend, his actor boyfriend, he's got a movie coming out, and he's in it. They're going to the premiere, and Paul sort of is like, "Oh, it's called Boys in the Sand," and Frankie incorrectly goes, "Oh, you mean like, so it's Lawrence of Arabia, sandals and swords and that kind of thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, that kind of thing." He's like, "Oh, can we come? +1?" And he's like, "I'll take her," and I'm like, this is going to be the gayest thing ever, isn't it?
It was so obvious. Like the way Paul was looking at it, going, "You really want to get to do this to him?"
Yeah. The best thing about it though is when we actually cut to the scene of them like in the theater watching the movie, right? And it's a porn, and Frankie just sitting there and like making his comments and being really awkward, and Ashley just kind of been like. He's like, oh, look at all this dick, and she's like, oh, that's just every day for me, and she just munching the popcorn.
Yeah.
It was delightfully amusing, and then he has to leave early. He can't take it anymore.
Yes, and he's like, "What the hell's a vignette?"
What the hell's a vignette? Yeah, because he said, I'm in the next vignette." That's what he says to him.
Yeah.
What the hell's a vignette?
That cracked me up more than it should.
You didn't like the movie? I couldn't follow the plot.
Oh man, Frankie was on fire this episode.
Yeah, they really wanted Dick. They dreamed about having Dick, and then they got lots of Dick. That was the plot.
Seems pretty simple.
That was the sum of it. But they end up spending the night together at a hotel room, and we see that Cece is like oh, where's she? Like she's basically just abandoned them and like went off one morning, and it's like and I was getting worried. I'm like, oh my god, what's he going to do when he finds her? When he like stumbles into her? Or she goes crawling back, whatever the resolution is going to be, I don't see it having a happy conclusion. Because,
we've seen how it can go.
Yeah, very first episode we saw him, like, threatening her with a blade. Like, that was the end of the first episode. So, we know she's no stranger to it. So, she knows the risk here. She knows what she's doing, but she can't take it anymore. And it's funny because she ends up chatting to Abby, and they talk about it, and then Frankie gets her to take her to her place, so she's a place to hide. Because I don't think it was established to me quite yet at that point, like how much he knew about what she was like. To him, is she just like going out with him for a night? But no, he seems to know. No, she's on the run. It's like she's hiding her.
I think he'll know who she is in passing. At least he'll have seen her in the bar. He sees them all, and he knows enough of this to go, look, if she's out here with me, she's not working.
Yeah, so he ends up staying with Abby, and Abby's very kind of like, is this bitch going to rob me when I go to work, kind of feeling. She ends up cleaning the place, actually. She makes herself useful, and she reads some books, and like Abby, again, she kind of like goes into supportive mode. She wants to kind of support her, help her get out of this life, but she even says, I'm not giving you any money because I've been down that path before, and it did not go so well. She was taken advantage of, and here you see her, like, she wants to try and believe in her, and she's very tempted not to. She ends up borrowing her dress, actually, the same orange dress we've seen Ashley wear like most of the season. Like that's her outfit, and she wears that for. We'll talk about that separately, but it's after this where she gives her a check that her dad gave her. She's like, hey, go visit your sister, and whatever it was,
Lackawanna.
There you go. I'm impressed you remembered that.
It's because they made a joke about it.
So our final episode is actually them in the bus station, and she's leaving. And this was where I was really worried, because we know CC goes to the bus stations to pick up new talent.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I was a little surprised this scene was on the end, given what we'll get to what came before. I was like, okay, this is how we end the episode instead.
Yeah,
it seemed strangely. Yeah, it just seemed strange.
To me, that implied she was actually legitimately getting out. Like, she wasn't coming back, at least not in the same capacity that Darlene came back.
No, I'm with you.
You know, because they made it at the end of the episode, like, no, someone who maybe we didn't necessarily think... Because I think for a lot of the season, we thought Darlene was going to go down that path, and then she didn't. Yeah. Whereas this is saying, no, like, she actually is making this choice. She is going.
Oh, I agree. I definitely think that's the point, yeah. It just seemed strange placement to me.
That's fair. Maybe they just wanted a happier note to end on.
I don't know. I think the other stuff's pretty happy still.
Oh, you were happy when Reggie got
arguably.
shot?
Definitely.
It was being awful to everyone. Admittedly, all episode he was beating up his girls.
He's kind of a dick.
Yeah, he was beating up Melissa. He was unsatisfied. He's pissed off that his other girl Kim. Actually, that's not her name. That's the actress's name. But regardless, she has a heroin overdose or whatever she's on. At one point, that's actually one of the things this really showed us this episode, is like all the problems that might arise whilst the parlor is in operation. You know, we have a girl who ODs. We see that Melissa and Barbara, you know, the other two that have been stealing from guys.
They're pulling the sting.
Yeah, and they get caught. And obviously, once it's like proven they're actually doing this, it's clear that okay, it's their fault. They're the ones that are getting into trouble. You know, and Reggie's pissed about. That's why Reggie punches her, presumably. And we see all that, and you know, and it's over the course of the episode. I can't remember his name, but the guy who runs the diner, you see that he's not happy with how she's being treated over the course of the episode.
Because every time he brings her food, she gets dragged away.
And he's not happy, you know, and he goes over and he pulls down the sunglasses and he sees the black eye and he's like, he's not happy about it. And once again, towards the end of the episode, Reggie tries to pull her out. You're doing a double shift to make up for everything you've done, and so on. And
it's like, no, she's just got food. Yeah, she's eating.
Got a plate. And, you know, then he talks back to him. He's like, oh, what the hell do you think you're talking to? You know, piss off. And that's when he just pulls out a gun and shoots Reggie. And Reggie dies. Well, presumably dies. I mean, maybe he'll be resuscitated, but he looked pretty dead to me.
Yeah, I mean, judging by that, he goes and makes the phone call, and he's like, yeah, I've got a body here.
Yeah.
If he's not dead now, he will be by the time they come and do cleanup.
So no. I think that's maybe one of the themes of this episode. One of the scenes we get of the rest of the pimps in this episode is they're just sitting in the diner, and funnily enough, Reggie's missing for that scene, but the other three of them are sitting there, and they're talking about how this new change, and like, you know, what is their place now because they keep talking about how they have so much spare time because they don't have to be out there whilst they're working. Like, whilst the girls are doing their thing, they're not allowed there, so they're just like,
yeah, it's what we've been talking about. It's like they've kind of become irrelevant. What purpose do they serve in this system anymore?
Yeah, Rodney's been going to see Fantasia. Oh no, sorry, he didn't go to see Fantasia. Larry went to see Fantasia, and Rodney's also a fan of Fantasia, and they talk about how they like Fantasia. And
Who doesn't like Fantasia? You probably don't like Fantasia, actually, because you're a dick.
I've never seen Fantasia.
Exactly.
I prefer Phantasm. Which, by the way, that was a very, very stealth reference to a joke on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where Xander tries to get Phantasm for Halloween viewing, and the video store accidentally give him Fantasia instead, and he's really upset about it. That was one of the that was a sniped reference.
That is a deep cut of a pull for that.
That was a sniped reference. That was. I am proud of that one. I'm taking all the points. Taking all the points for that one.
Christ, you're a knob.
So, Joe was funny this conversation for me though. They're talking about being irrelevant. What's our place? What are we supposed to do now? Like, yeah, sure, the girls are still the prostitutes. The money's still the money. All this is still this. But what are the pimps now? And what it was really making me think of, actually, in a weird way, was video game retailers. You know, your GameStop and whatnot, because Yeah, they're still kind of surviving right now, barely. But they keep talking about how things are bad. They're shutting stores because a lot of people just buy their games digitally. On the marketplace, either whether it's the PlayStation, the Xbox, or on PC. They're just
Or they'll
buying it
buy
directly.
it from other places that or like the supermarkets or Amazon because it's cheaper.
Yeah, more so Amazon. But even like other stores like that though. I feel like over time that'll
Over
whittle down.
time, sure, but
Yeah.
like those sorts of stores can sell them. They can undercut the dedicated game stores just because they don't need to make as high a profit on
Look,
an individual game.
look. Stop bringing in these other things. The point I'm trying to make here is that the middleman isn't necessary anymore because there's now a safe place where you can just go and get it directly, right? And that's kind of what this parlor
I'm
is.
with you, but I just thought your analogy kind of fell apart a little bit.
No, it didn't.
I think it did.
You're just arguing this to be a dick now. Stop it.
Well, you shouldn't have done that Buffy reference, should you?
It's just my analogy is completely fine. It actually makes complete sense, and you're just trying to poke holes in it because you're annoying. Stop it. Stop it right now.
You were planning that Buffy reference since you watched it, weren't you?
No, I was not, as it happens.
Okay.
Spur of the moment. But that's what it was making me think of. It was just like how irrelevant they are now. Like people don't need them anymore. The girls don't really need them
Yeah. Because
because
they're not allowed there anyway.
because Candy's kind of getting out of this side of the business. But let's say she still was doing that. Like this would actually be perfect for her to just go in and say, okay, what's the price to rent one room as just for me myself for the
Yeah,
night?
and they've all seen Candy been doing it for years.
Yeah,
Like
so
they know it can be done.
and giving them in this safer space where there's like a bodyguard, like all of a sudden this like what are the pimp's roles in this? They're basically just being dealt with. And again, comparing it to the video game analogy, like the idea that the retailers are still being dealt with for a while because the infrastructure's there and some people still go to them for it because they feel like it's almost like a phantom necessity. But eventually, over time, more and more and more, you see that you don't really need them at all.
No, I'm with you. I think at the minute the pimps should enjoy what they've got. They're like, hey, we got free time. We've still got money. Let's make the most of it.
But their days are numbered.
Let's go see Fantasia.
Because like if they're going to try and recruit a new girl, why would and then the new girl knows that these places exist once it becomes more well known.
I think that's what the pimp's purpose has to change to be because at the minute they want established talent from out of town already because it's easier for them. I think they're going to have to get in fresh talent who aren't aware of all these things and have to actually train them up. That'll have to become their role if they want to survive.
There'll be recruitment for the
Essentially
brothels.
they'll be the training grounds.
Okay, I can see that. But will they be smart enough to because not even smart enough? I shouldn't even say that. It's not about intelligence because they're in a very sort of they're very savvy in a lot of ways. Not in a very nice way, but they're savvy. I think it's more a case of do they think of that, or does their pride in wanting to keep what's theirs override that, and they do something reckless because of their egos, basically.
I think after last week, I'd have said, nah, they're not going to have this idea at all. But I think, with this, where they realise that they're irrelevant in this system, they're maybe not entirely, but they're kind of on it, aren't they? I think that maybe they're more ahead than we think. So maybe they will start looking for other ideas.
I think that's part of why Reggie was so angry with this episode. He just felt like he was irrelevant most of the time.
Yeah, he's lost his power. He's still got the money, but he's lost his power.
But he's going around trying to re-establish his power by shouting at Vincent in his bar, by shouting at all these different people.
Yeah.
And it's not really working, and he ends up getting shot. So, and maybe that's, again, it's a sign of the idea of how they treat the girls. That time is ending. Like, there's too much resistance, there's too many new systems in place now for it to keep going that way. So, and again, Cece's the one I worry about. Like, what is he going to do when he feels that threatened?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the next loose cannon.
Yeah. I mean, Larry doesn't seem to be thrilled about it. There's that one great shot later on in the episode. It's just one little moment where you see him walking down the street and he's got nothing to do. He has no idea what to do with himself. He's just wandering.
I think him and Rodney are the ones most likely to be okay with it all. They're the ones most likely to adapt because they kind of they're not as bothered as the others. They've kind of been a little bit more lenient. I don't know. I feel like they're the ones that are going to be okay.
Yeah. So you got that stuff. Jumping over, we'll talk about Abby. and we'll talk about her basically wearing the prostitute's dress so that she can go and embarrass her parents, because they've got this formal event, this formal party, and she kind of lies to Vincent and says, "Oh no, it's not that formal. You come wearing that leather jacket that I like."
Yeah, leather jacket and the boots. You don't need a suit.
Yeah, don't need a suit. And then they walk in, and she's going in. She's in this skimpy dress, and she's like dancing around with them. She's making it all erotic. But as soon as they walk in, he's like, "Abby, what the hell?" He's looking around.
Yeah,
he's like,
they're all in tuxes.
I could have put a suit on. That's I feel out of place. And then he's getting grilled by her father. It's just very uncomfortable for him. But
I like how the father knew exactly what had gone on. Like when he was like, I was a bit misinformed as to the dress code, and so I was like, yeah, I'm sure you were. I know exactly what she's done.
Yeah, she's there to throw her lifestyle in their face. She wants to rebel against it. But again, it's another sign that she wants to. She is this rebellious type. She wants to challenge the status quo, which was expected of her. That kind of stuff. Because you see her actually, just to go back to like her and Darlene, you see there's a small scene with them at the start of the episode where it seems like they're okay again. They're just kind of chatting, but there's just this little moment at the end where she mentions her friend Bernice that she brought to town, and she's like, "Oh, how is she doing? Okay, or whatever." And it's the one moment in the scene where things go a little bit sour, like, oh, this is why they were pissed at each other, and it's like she's like, not only are you doing this to yourself, you brought someone else into this life, like,
yeah, and we see how bad it is for Bernice this episode.
Yeah, Bernice basically has like a panic attack during one of the Johns. She starts screaming, and again we have Bobby running in with Black Frankie to deal with the situation. Like, what's going on? And they think, "Oh, what have you done, you asshole?" And he hadn't done anything, seemingly. Like, she's just freaking out.
No, it seems really clear because the other girls are in there, and she's going, "Where am I? What? He was just trying to force himself on me." And it's like, well, he wasn't. Obviously, I don't think at all that he'd done anything wrong. I think he'd just done what he'd expected and what she'd obviously was there for.
Yeah.
And she just blanked.
The scene plays completely like she had some kind of weird moment. She blanked or blacked out for a second, and she's having this attack, and it's made clear because later on Darlene says to her, "Go home. If you stay here, you're going to be killed. This was a mistake bringing you here." Which again seems very, and this is Darlene's fault. I think this should weigh in Darlene's mind a little bit over the next while, because she brought her here, admits that she really shouldn't have, that she wasn't ready, and okay, sure, even if she goes home right now, if she packs her bags and just goes home, she now has to live with the memories of like coming out here and trying this and doing it for a couple of months or whatever. Like, yeah, you've kind of like forced her into this life for a little while, and now she's going to live with that memory, and that's that's kind of dark.
But the thing is, I don't think she's going to go, because she stands up and she walks after, but she seems defiant, like she wants to prove that she can do it.
And I think that guilt for Darlene's going to build up, and I think it's really effective because Darlene was the first character in the show where we where we really connected with and said, oh, she's like, we recognized that she was maybe capable of more, and we kind of wanted her to get out of it, and we wanted her to like get better, because we saw she was nice to the old man, she didn't steal his money.
Yeah, we were with Abby, when she came read the book, and it's like, oh, she recognized what we did. It's like, you could do more.
And it very, very, in a lot of ways, she was kind of the first sort of heart of the show. And I think there's more now, but she was the first one we kind of latched onto in that way. And it's kind of like her doing something that's kind of ruined someone else's life. Is like, it stings more than it would if it was just some asshole character.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does.
Because I feel like she really has made a mistake, and it'll be interesting to see how she grows from that. How she considers herself when she sees Bernice maybe go through more stuff, maybe actually die. Like maybe that prediction will actually be just completely true.
I feel like someone has to, like one of the girls.
Yeah, I can see it.
Just to drive it home.
So that was that. We also had obviously some stuff with Candy, or Eileen, as we seem to be using that name more often than not now. We see her first. She's on one of our escort jobs, and we see how vastly different this is to what she was doing before, where it's in a fancy hotel room. The guy's very sort of talkative and honest, 'cause she goes straight for the bedroom, and he's like, "Oh, let's pop some wine. Let's have a drink.
Have some dinner."
yeah, I'll order you some room service. I can't take you out of the restaurant because people might see me, but I'll order you some
Probably
dinner.
order up some food. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to pretend like it's a real date almost before they
Yeah.
have sex, but it's actually he's almost more dismissive afterwards though, because as soon as they finish, he throws up first. Bizarrely, he goes and throws up. Clearly, he feels a bit sick about what he's doing, even though he wanted to do it. But he comes back and he's almost immediately he lies down in the bed and just says, "All right, leave."
Yep. You can go now.
He's done. In a weird way, it's actually more demeaning than before. It was like we pretend, but the pretense wasn't for her. The pretend was all for him
Yeah.
to feel better
but
about
but
it.
she looks pretty awkward throughout the whole thing. She feels out of place.
She does, which is a big contrast to her on set when she's not even in the scene. When she's dressed up as if she's going to be in a scene later. She's got the robe on, she's got a wig on, but
Yeah.
she's offering advice. She's talking like Laurie's in a scene with the guy, and like they're being very unemotive. Like she looks like she's just kind of a zombie lying in the bed, and she's like, "Oh, maybe do this or maybe do that," and she's like, "Yeah, lift up her legs a bit." And
Yeah, I mean, even before that's when they come back from the break. Because first, it's like, right, oh, go get dinner. You know, they need to eat.
and she
And then
pays
she's
for
like,
it.
no, yeah. And then she's like, well, I don't like this green. Let's get some red.
Yeah, she starts dressing the set, and someone, the girl even cracks a joke. She's like, "Oh, you're the set dresser." It's like, the what? It's like, oh, that's what they call it in Hollywood. The one who's like the production assistant, production designer,
Art something.
art director. There's lots of phrases that mean the same damn
Yeah,
thing.
but they used art. In this
Yeah,
one,
it was art director.
because she was really confused when
Yeah.
she said art. She was like, really, art?
But
This isn't art.
They're basically all the same thing. But
Yeah.
the point was is she was starting to do that kind of naturally, and she was also starting to direct the actors. And unlike Harvey, she was actually getting a good performance out of them.
Because she knew what it was like to be there.
Yeah, I think partly that. I think just creative as well, because it wasn't even just like she was directing it in the sense of this will look good on camera. It was like, no, I know that feels good. Because when Laurie starts reacting, it's not like she's just pretending. It's like what she actually gets them to do actually enhances what they're doing.
Right, that's what I mean. Because
yeah.
she's been there, she knows what's good. So she's like, right,
Yeah.
do this. That'll end up feeling more natural.
She has an odd sense of experience for this that actually lends itself to what she's directing.
Exactly.
And she has all these little moments where she's like trying to like give Laurie some advice, and she's like oiling up her boobs and joking, oh, I always wanted boobs like this, and it's a very kind of, but you get this feeling that she's almost mothering the entire set to an extent. She's
definitely.
a little bit of directing, a little bit of lighting, a little bit, well, not lighting, but a bit of art direction.
She'll get there. She'll
Making
get
sure
aligned.
everyone's fed. Even saying, yeah, people don't can't have sex on a hungry stomach. Like not everyone can. And she's like, "Oh, who's hungry?" And the guy, he's still inside
He
Laurie at
just
the time.
stops,
He's just
like-
like, "Yeah, me, I'm hungry. Please feed me."
Yeah.
So they all have food. And Laurie tries to pay her back for the food, and she's like, "No, it's fine. You work on
You're
set,
on
you get
set,
paid.
you don't pay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you eat. Yeah, eating's part of it, which is true. That's actually true of the film industry. You get food. There's catering always.
Yeah.
To some extent. I apologise for the computer noise that just happened when I hit the spacebar.
Yeah, you're a goddamn disgrace.
I do a lot of hand movements, and sometimes you hit things.
Yeah, I always push my keyboard out of the way in case.
It's pretty far back to, but I just really do a lot of hand
You
movements.
really went for it, that one, yeah.
I really went for it, yeah. But no, this is really fascinating. And then after all this is done, and she's with Harvey, and she's just getting ready to leave, and he's saying bye. He's like, "Hey, like, how's that job going? Like, you enjoying it?" She's like, "It's still sex. Like, yeah, there's more bullshit before it, but it's still just sex." And you get a sense, okay, she's willing to do this now to make some money, but she's really eyeing up more things. Like, she's eyeing up all these other jobs that she's trying to get into. Yeah. And you really get a sense that she will get there. Like, she's actually good at some of it. She's shown in this episode specifically that she has a natural eye for a couple of different things.
And Harvey sees that as well. He knows.
Yeah, Harvey could almost transition to just being like, he deals with the money side of things and like sets things up, and
He'll be the producer, essentially.
yeah, the producer, yeah, but she's the creative one,
Yeah.
and she knows how to speak to them as well. She, just in the sense of making them feel kind of welcomed, and making sure they're fed, all those kind of things. Which I'll admit, as someone who's directed things, sometimes you forget that your crew and actors need to eat.
Yeah. What an inconvenience that is.
As inconvenient, because you got 2 hours left before sun goes
Well, I mean,
down.
that's kind of Harvey's whole thing. It's
Yeah.
like, look, we're behind schedule. We really need to get this done. It's like, we ain't got time to stop and eat.
Yeah, And I think the director's always so stressed that they're the first ones to go, no, you know what, we'll just not eat today, it's fine. But everyone else is like, no, I can't function without food, please. It's a balance. I'm not saying that's the right thing for a director to do, but I've been in the position where you kind of just conveniently forget that because you're too stressed out about the actual job at hand that you don't care about eating lunch.
Yeah, I think it applies in other jobs. Like at work, we often will be like, "Oh, we're not having a break today." It's like, the boss will be just like, "Oh, we haven't got time to have a break," and it's like, well, I mean, I should be able to take a half-hour break, but I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. There's just life sometimes. But he even tries to, like, you get, again, we talked about this last episode, that they seem to have this bond kind of forming, this friendship, where he tries to ask about, oh, like, how did you get into this life? And he even asks, is it a dad thing? Like, it's like, nah, not like you're thinking. Which maybe implies that her father's related, but it's not like anything what he's prodding at.
Yeah, yeah. Would lend credence to your idea of last week being the father.
Oh yeah,
showed up.
when she ducks out the house and sneaks
Yeah,
through the driveway.
I wonder if she was sort of like Abby. It was like it was a rebellion thing.
Yeah, but she went in a very specific direction, whereas Abby's obviously.
But I can kind of see it to bring in that mirroring theme later down the line.
Yeah, I could see it, and it maybe stands to reason, like, because if Abby did go down that path, you feel like she would be like Candy in the sense that she wouldn't want a pimp.
She's very independent, yeah.
Yeah, like this would be purely a just hard.
The more thing about they're very similar types of people. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see it. No, I'm enjoying that. Obviously, another scene with Laurie, we see her at the sex shop, and we see that there's obviously we see throughout the episode that Rudy's going to get these cubicles built. Like he's all for this. Yeah, let's do this.
They have a mob boss meeting.
Yeah, and I think it's Frankie who's like, yeah, we need to make sure they're cleanable, like very easy to clean. Build that into the price. But we see that right now they are just these little things, and you actually see one of the guys is just masturbating, like just out in the open, like he's just kind of going at it. But Laurie's in the one next, and it's these little windows they look into to watch it. Very obviously it's the 70s, so it's very old school little, inbox projectors, and she's watching her own scene, and she's like, "Hey buddy, you jacking off next to me? Look at this one. There's a good part's coming up."
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they joke about getting an autograph as she's leaving. In fact, they're all before they realise she's one of the actresses in it, they're all complaining it's just taking too long.
Yeah, and the guy running this is like, I don't care, she's paying, she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, but that was a reasonable little scene. It's almost like she likes the fame. She likes the.
I think it is. Yeah,
the attention.
I think it's different because obviously we saw Darlene before where she was horrified that she was only paid once and now anyone can watch this. But with Laurie, it's like, no, she likes the attention. She likes the whole idea, the image of it.
Yeah. Also, we also see the benefit of the work hours. Like she because presumably she's making more from the filming day, she's taking the whole week off.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because she's being allowed to, so she must be making enough.
Yeah. Okay, I don't imagine CC would be okay with her making less than doing that, so.
No, definitely not.
Or even the same amount. Like I assume, this must cover 3 days, so you get 3 days to rest before you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do your scene. Get let your acting be at its peak, not be exhausted. So.
Maybe that's what the pimps need to do. Transition into being agents.
Maybe. So the last plot we have to kind of look at is the cop side of things, namely Sandra and Alston. And their kind of budding romance that's been kind of, and again, I think at the start of the first scene in this one where they're in the car and he's kind of explaining, these parlours have been popping up, all the girls are off the streets, and yeah, I'm pretty sure they're paying us, like not him personally, like the way he says it, but it's like
just the precinct as a whole, like the higher ups, yeah.
And I wonder how much of that trickles down. Like, does he get a bump in his paycheck from that?
I doubt it.
I'll
just take it as a bonus.
Yeah, not in the paperwork. I don't mean though. Like, just like, but does he get any of it though? Does he see a penny of it?
Maybe in overtime.
Okay.
Like, because they made a point in that, I don't know if it was last episode, the one before. They're like, right, and we're actually paying overtime for this stuff, and they all got excited.
All right.
So maybe that's where some of that overtime money's coming from.
So you think the overtime's off the books then?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I can see that. But he's basically saying all this, and he's being like brutally honest with her, and more honest than you would expect someone to be. And she is like, oh, why are you telling me all this? And he's like, I don't really know. And I'm like, it's because you get the hots for her. Well,
Yeah.
that's the surface level. I think the real reason he's telling her though is because I don't think he's comfortable with it all. I think
Oh, he's not. No.
he's like, no, this is kind of wrong that this is going on.
Yeah. People should know.
This much corruption. So I think he's like getting it off his conscience, if nothing else. But yeah, so we have that. We also have the fact that there's a new captain. The 14th precinct has a new captain, and this captain asks him to be the officer to like give him a tour of the because he's new to the neighborhood. So he's like, okay, what neighborhood am I commanding here?
He seems like less of a dick than the last guy.
Yeah, sure, he does.
I mean, the last guy was a right knob, wasn't he?
Uh-huh. I'm sorry, could you be any more English after that stupid last sentence?
What's wrong with that?
He's a right knob, wasn't he?
I don't see the problem.
That is the problem.
That was a perfectly acceptable sentence.
Jesus. But he asked him to like give him the tour, and Alston asks, "Oh, why me? Why are you asking for me?" And he brings up that the person who trained him is this cop that they both know, some legend in their like precinct or in the area.
In the area.
And he brings up that he was like the guy who broke me in. He's the guy who trained me, back when I started out, and he's like, he was a black officer, and he says that he should be higher ranked than I am by now, and he still might get there. He's not retired yet, but it's taking him longer because he's black. And obviously this is again the fact that this is maybe a bit more extreme because of the time period, because we're back in the 70s here. But he's talking about all that, and he says, if you ever need to get like an honest answer, if you ever need an honest cop to actually tell you how it is, find a low-ranking black officer who has been there for a while, has years on his career, but still hasn't moved up, because they're more likely to just be honest about what's going on. And you can see it on Alston's face, like he's never really comprehended that before, and he almost, like, I think there's a mix of feelings in him, where he's not really sure if he should be offended by what he just said, or if he should be like, okay, he's right, like it makes sense, but he's not, again, much like with Sandra, that feeling where he didn't want to feel like he was being used. And I think that's also kind of present here. Like, he's being used because of his position in the force and who he is. And, maybe the reasons aren't bad. Like, at least in her case, it's like she wants to expose things. She's doing it for kind of a noble cause. In this guy's case, maybe it's still kind of noble in the sense that he wants to know exactly what's going on so that he can get a hold of his own precinct and like figure out what bullshit
that's how it
is.
Seems.
But it's almost like, yeah, okay, I've been pigeonholed into this, like, because of who I am in life, and it's like, again, kind of like the idea of Abby and like some of the other characters, like, we've been kind of dealt this hand. Do we want to rebel and be something more? And I think that's kind of like brewing sort of behind his eyes, because I think later on when he takes Sandra out and she drives him back to his, and he invites her up, and it's like, you can trust me, it's just friendly. And he goes in for a kiss just as they're entering the building. And it's almost like, that's almost, I think, the motivation for him, is that he wants to feel like he's actually doing something for himself. And he's not just being pigeonholed, he's actually, going out and trying. And, maybe it'll fail. And for a second it feels like it might be, because she pushes away at first. And then he's almost about to apologise, and then she grabs him back in. Yeah. And again, I'm doing my big hand movements, but so you have that moment, and it's kind of a sweet moment. And we see the next day though, he's very chuffed with himself.
He's way too proud about it.
Yeah.
It's been a while for him, hasn't it?
Yeah. Actually, I may have those scenes out of order. That may actually be when we first meet the new captain. Was it? Or did we get two scenes when they're in the the precinct room where they all get their orders for the day?
They have the one scene where they're all there, called to attention, and they introduce him.
The captain, yeah. I feel like there must be two, because that it feels too early in the episode for it to be before the.
I mean,
the day.
Because the one scene where they introduce him and they do all that, they're all stood up, and then it's a separate scene where the captain comes over to his desk and it's like, "Hey, do you want to take me out on this?" So it must have been, yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm just misremembering it then, but. The way I've got it in my head, that conversation was part of the motivation to actually go in for the kiss. But if those were in the opposite order, then completely ignore everything I just said. I still think the psychology is there in his head.
Yeah, it's
for the
there.
Scene,
just
but
maybe not. He hadn't had the prodding.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not sure because I can't remember specifically now that you've said it like that. I think that's maybe a slight problem when it is a scattershot episode like this,
Yeah,
that
there's so
it kind
much
of
going
becomes
on.
hard to place everything exactly.
In the case with him, those are two kind of separate plots with the same character almost.
Yeah, one's with the captain, one's with Sandra. It's like they're not they're related in terms thematically,
Yeah,
but as actual plots, they're very separate.
yeah. So no, it's it's interesting stuff. I guess the only final thing to talk about is just occasionally the assholes who are coming into the parlor and are being kind of critical of, oh, there's just these two to pick from, and
And then Bobby's like, "Well, no, just the one, really."
yeah. Bobby for some reason seems to have taken a liking to one of them, and
Yeah, he's got a thing for her, hasn't he?
yeah, he doesn't want to see her being used that way, so he's actually paying her out of his own pocket every so often to, oh, there, you've made your money for the night, just stay with me.
Yeah. You know that whole thing where Vincent was like, "Look, you're with my sister. No dealing with the merchandise." He's like, "No, I promise. Yeah, I won't. I mean, nothing happening. I'm a good married man
And he's just keeping her there, giving her drinks, ordering Chinese
for
food
now."
together. It definitely feels like he's smitten, and it feels like she's happy enough to just do this. Like, so it's easier work, I
Just get
guess.
paid.
Yeah. But yeah, he seems to be smitten with her.
Yeah, when they're ordering the Chinese, she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I should have this one or that." He's like, just get both. It's fine.
Which again, I think the implication is that he's paying for. He's like, yeah, I'll get you both.
And,
It's
and
fine.
and I think it was Ruby. Is like, "I don't want Chinese." And it's like, tough. We've decided it's Chinese.
Old thunder fries, thighs.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's being nice, but fine.
Well, the finale, I checked. The name of the next episode is My Name Is Ruby. So she must
Okay.
feature in some way
She
in the
must,
finale.
must have a big moment.
I would expect so.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so that it's actually kind of interesting to see the place operating like this, where it's just everything's normal, and we see incidents prop up. We see people coming in. In fact,
Another guy coming to shake down for protection money.
yeah, Karate Kid himself pops
Yeah.
in because now he's part of a new unit, which also falls under this jurisdiction. So now he wants money too. So we'll see how Bobby deals with that.
Yep.
Does he go crying to old Rudy? Like, hey, can you?
I don't know. I feel like he might do, but Rudy might just like laugh him out of the place. Be like, "No, that's just the price of business."
Well, yeah, you just say raise the prices then for
Yeah, exactly.
if everyone's paying an extra $50, that's covered your 200 a week, easy.
Yeah.
So, hey ho. But there you go. That is this week's episode of the Deuce.
It's pretty good. I still think the last scenes were out of order for me. I would have had the train station bit and then the shooting, because I think it has that moment after he puts the phone down and he stands back behind the bar.
Yeah, I was almost expecting the music to start before.
That felt like the final shot to me. It felt I was like there, and then it went into something else, and I was really surprised.
It doesn't bother me. I can see what you're saying, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I still think it's obviously this show's been very consistent throughout.
It has, yeah.
We have one more episode left, and then it'll be a year, maybe a year and a half before we get to season 2. But it's been very well told so far, and I'm
Definitely.
excited to see where we end with all these characters. I'm expecting probably one big death in the finale.
Maybe Ruby.
Maybe Ruby, given our names in the title.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, that is the Deuce episode 7. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Have you got anything else?